The strong and independent quote unquote boss babes are losing their jobs, and companies aren't exactly lining up to hire these insufferable women again. We've got a good one for you here today from Circle of Kings titled Companies Are Awkwardly Avoiding Hiring Women in 2025. Let's get into it.
I was in an interview. I was going for a role that was the next step up, and I was really nervous going into it. That imposter syndrome type feeling where I didn't know if I was ready to take that position, but I was going to go in there, put myself out there and just give it a crack and do my best. And I was being interviewed by a female, and I didn't get one marketing question the entire interview. I was questioned whether I would be confident enough to stand up to a male counterpart from another company that they worked with, and whether I was able to stand up to that person and be confident enough to hold my own. I got the job, and at the time I felt like, oh, that was a bit of a weird interview, but like, hey, I got the job. I'm stoked, but then only once I educated myself and read this book, I realized how demoralizing that actually was, and how as a woman, the questions that I was getting asked, would they have really been asked if it was a male or an older male?
She just explained exactly why she wasn't qualified for the job that she was offered. The company was more concerned about meeting DEI quotas and hiring the best person for the job. And even though she got the job, she is still not happy about it.
Equal pay for women. Equal pay for women.
Gender pay gap?
That's right.
What if I told you that on average, the male full-time employee works more hours than a female full-time employee?
We don't need your man statistics, okay? There's jobs that only men can do and we're not allowed to. Like garbage man. It's literally in the name, garbage man.
What if I told you I can get you and your lady friends a job in garbage disposal?
Yeah, we'll do it. We're not getting paid enough for this.
But you're getting paid the same as men.
But we should make more. We're women dragging garbage.
No, that's discrimination against men.
That's not cool, yeah.
Babe,
What?
I just broke my nail. Come down.
This skit is woefully inaccurate. There is no way that those women would apply to all work in trash removal. They would most certainly complain about it, but they would never apply because that's a man's job and they shouldn't have to do it.
Would you rather have a female or a male boss?
I know it sounds really bad, but I've seen in so many jobs that I've had where there's been a female boss, you do kind of feel like there's a bit more of a competitive nature about them.
Female.
I'd say female as well.
I think they're just a bit more understanding. Sometimes, like when you need time off for reasons, I think sometimes they get it a bit more, especially if it's a bit more personal. They kind of understand that you've got like more of an emotional side.
She's forgetting something. Your boss is not your friend. They aren't there to give you time off if you're having emotional issues. And if that's the type of boss that woman wants, then her company will be managed into the ground before the year is over.
If companies can pay women less, why don't they hire all women?
Well, that's a whole nother story.
Really?
I understand your argument, and I understand that you're angry.
I'm not angry.
I can hear it in your voice.
I'm not angry.
Your voice.
I'm hearing my voice and I sound pretty calm.
You have now shifted the quality of your voice, and I thank you for that.
Okay.
And you've just given me a condescending look, and that's another reason why we need feminism. And now I'm done. Thank you so much.
She had to project her insecurities, gaslight, and be as unpleasant as possible just to get out of answering an incredibly valid question. She knows that quote-unquote gender pay gap is bull, but she refuses to admit it because her image is more important than actually having a mature dialogue.
I just saw this video of a very brave man who was asking the question, at what age do women realize that some rich 10 out of 10 man isn't going to marry them? That man, definitely brave. He's definitely brave. There were a lot of women in the comments. But then we hear the man's perspective, and it is just this. Like, they are trying to get out there. They're dating. They're on dating apps. And they're finding time and time again that women are materialistic.
That should surprise nobody. We already know how materialistic a lot of modern women are, since they say that if a man makes less than 100K a year, then he's pretty much living in poverty. And women will still get furious even when this is pointed out in a rational manner.
And they are having these unrealistic expectations. So you tell me, where is that coming from if it's completely made up? The numbers show that less men and women, especially at a young age, like through their 20s, are not getting coupled together as much. I tend to believe that the truth lies somewhere in the middle, and there's areas that both women and men can improve on. And I know that I'm giving the male perspective, but that's because there are plenty of women's perspective out there on social media. I'm just giving you the other side. I understand that there's a balance, and I think most people, even my followers, understand that there's a balance.
The problem is that modern women were sold this idea that the world has a massive supply of incredibly handsome, independently wealthy men who also have nothing but time on their hands, and they hate the fact that those men don't really exist in today's world.
I am so tired of no one in these conversations speaking up for the harsh and very real reality that men are facing in the dating world right now. Because we talk about what women face. We're perfectly comfortable saying there's deadbeat guys who need to, get off their bum. You need to, make your money. You need to be able to provide for your family. You need to be in shape. You need to be fit, because if you're fat, you can't, and you're running across the street with a jiggle belly, you can't protect your woman. We are comfortable saying all of these things, but we are not comfortable checking women and saying, are you in your feminine? Are you virtuous? Maybe that body count of 86 is catching up with you, honey. I'm not into it. We are not comfortable challenging them.
Even when a woman gets called out for her irresponsible behavior, she turns around and figures out a way to blame it on the entire male population for why she's 30 with a high body count and still has zero chance of actually getting into a healthy relationship with a good man.
I would love to be a stay-at-home mom. I would love to be a homemaker and a wife. I would love to be able to live on a homestead and go milk my cow and take the eggs out of the chicken coop and have one baby in the belly and on my hip and another toddler coming behind me. That's like my dream, but I can't do that because the way the economy is set up is I'm forced to work. I'm forced to get an education, a higher education, a college degree in order to make enough money that I can be financially independent and afford my own home or my own rent or my own gas or my own groceries, my own insurance. And it's extremely difficult to do that.
That's not society's fault. Modern women were encouraged to do all of those things. They celebrated going to college, getting a job, living the big city life. She could have had the homesteader's life if she wanted, but she chose to drink the Kool-Aid instead.
Pretend that you were in charge of a prison and you could hire all female prison guards for the most violent criminals on planet Earth, or all male prison guards with the exact same qualifications. Which ones would you hire?
The strongest, period.
Okay, which ones are going to be the strongest, do you think?
If I have no evidence for who is going to be stronger.
Maybe I can add to that.
What do you mean you have no evidence? Life experience. Men are stronger than women are, almost always.
Based off gender. I could not pick who is going to serve my people the best.
Let me ask you a question.
It's really not that controversial. Men are physically stronger than women. This is the only time in human history where a biological fact has just seemed to trigger so many people. It's ridiculous.
The 100 strongest people in the entire world right now, are they men or women?
I don't know.
They're men.
Well, there's 3 men cornering her. Like, she can't, answer the
question.
question.
No, these are big, strong women. What do you mean
because you guys have, 10...
When there was a draft, why is it only men?
That's a good question. I wasn't
Well, now
there.
it's going to have to be women soon, so...
Yeah, unfortunately, because feminists are fighting for equality, so now we're going to get it.
It's been stated in the Bible that men are protectors, so yeah.
Right, because they do a better job protecting.
I have always felt more protected by my mom than I have by my dad.
We should all take a second to appreciate the irony of a woman who clearly makes her income on OF try and use words from the Bible to prove why men should be protecting her.
This is why I just quit my job as a doctor and moved to Mexico City. I know that if you've been following me for a while, this may come as a shock because it would seem that I really liked my job, and I did. This has nothing to do with not liking my job.
Men, it's just interesting because we can like our job, make a lot of money, and still quit. Men would never. They would never.
There is a reason why it's called work and not playtime. These women will go to absurd lengths to get the jobs, the degrees, and the titles, only to turn around and throw it all away because it doesn't make them happy. But that is not the purpose of employment.
I've applied to 300 plus jobs since August, and I've heard back on none of them. Before you say it's my resume.
Oh, I can tell you why it seems like everyone's hiring, but no one's actually hiring you. I applied for thousands of jobs after I graduated college, and after I finally landed one, and once I left that company, I had no hope of getting another one, so I made my own career path. That's right, I never even managed to find a way into the industry from which I graduated from and originally wanted to join. Yeah, it's so hard for Gen Z and millennials to get a job nowadays. Most of us are just working 3 or 4 odd jobs to cover our bills. It's very sad.
Stories like this prove how little college actually benefits people. She even admitted that she doesn't even have a job in the field that she studied, and yet you'll still be expected to take out an absurd amount of debt just to get that degree. Choose wisely when it comes to that kind of stuff.
And people like this who are trying to sell you courses or profit off of this will try and tell you it's you or it's your approach that's the issue, and that's honestly not often it, which makes you feel even more helpless. Because when I would actually find places that were hosting interviews, I would often make it to like the end round of candidates, so I don't think it was me who was the problem. I had a pretty good fighting chance. But the issue is right in front of you. When you open up your LinkedIn, Indeed, whatever, and you look at all your job applications, what do you see right away? Only one of those was actually ever viewed.
A lot of these companies will just post job vacancies online just to give the illusion that they are looking for help, even when it's fairly obvious that they are not looking for anybody at all.
And most of them all go completely unviewed and untouched. Why is that? I can confirm this now as someone who once dabbled in the admin area for a company that also did this. This is very common practice, especially amongst like Fortune 500 companies. One time I had a friend who worked at a Fortune 500 company. I was like, oh, your marketing department's always posting listings for hiring. I should apply so we could work together. That'd be so much fun. And he looked at me and he said, don't bother. And I was like, that's kind of rude. Why would you say that? And he said, those probably aren't real. And any jobs we do have, they're going to be hired internally first. It's one of two things. We want our own people in the roles, but we have to post it publicly to say that we're hiring. Or two, the job just isn't real, and looking like we're always hiring looks good on the outside from a growth perspective.
That's not surprising at all. It's always been an open secret that getting jobs like that require you to either know somebody or be related to the hiring manager in some way. It's all just a big show of smoke and mirrors.
Now, the legalities of that, I'm not positive of. Sadly, it's not an uncommon practice in the industry. It has a name. They're referred to as ghost jobs. The worst part is there's no way of knowing at first glance which ones are real and which are fake. So I think the fact that these have become such a common practice might contribute to this number looking so good overall on a national scale of job openings. It's quite possible a lot of them aren't real.
What makes it even worse is even if you do somehow get that job, the odds of you getting laid off right before benefits are still too insanely high. That's the beauty of mass layoffs right there. But anyway, guys, we're going to be leaving today's episode there. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new here. Drop a comment, and I will see you all in the next one. Make sure you take care of yourselves. Peace.